Hello and welcome to Bloodstained. This is going to be my tips and tricks guide, beginners to advanced, to help you get acquainted or help you get going in this type of games. A little bit about me: I've been playing these games, all the Castlevanias, even the remakes, and pretty much I've beaten all of them. There's only a couple NES ones I haven't, but I've been playing all of them. I love them, and they are a great experience. But there's some general things I want to go over to try to just help you get acquainted with the style of these games, the Metroidvania style. A couple other things is I've been a backer for this Kickstarter, backer funder. My name will be in the credits of this game. I'll put the link in the video of what the name looks like. So I'm really excited about that. I knew that Iga was going to deliver, so I pretty much was all on board within the first hour that they went live with the Kickstarter. And we are so blessed to have Iga and Mitru Yamane, who's the composer of these games, bring their expertise and just give us this product that we've all been waiting for many years now. A couple of my favorite Castlevania games were Symphony of the Night and Aria of Sorrow, and they both worked on those, and those are amazing games. A lot of good memories from those. So, moving on for the first tip. The first tip I want to talk about is the exploration in this. It's just a general tip. You want to try to go for the 100% exploration if you can. You don't have to, but these games reward it. Iga has always had that style, like he wants to reward people that thoroughly explore around the map and try to unlock everything that they can, try to find everything. So that's always a good thing to try to keep in mind. The other thing I want to go over is when you fast travel or when you go to a save spot, make sure that you kill the enemies that are around you, and they might drop something rare. Go back to the save spot or the fast travel and look for the nearest save spot and just save, because sometimes the items drop and they're pretty rare, but then you don't save, so you move around the map and you're going to the next spot, but then you find that you're confronted by a pretty annoying demon and it happens to kill you. Well, you just lost that rare drop. And so you have to go all the way back, hopefully meet that enemy again, have it drop, but it didn't drop that rare item. So you don't want that to happen. It's a good idea just to get in the habit of just saving often when you can, especially when you get a rare item. If you happen to get like a drop that's rare, just go back and save. It's a good habit. The next tip I have, we're starting to get into the intermediate, is for attacking in this game. You're gonna come across a wide range of weapons. There's a lot of different things to play around with. You find a weapon that fits your style, obviously. Some weapons are spammable with the attack button, some are not. They all have different attack speeds. Mine is the swords. I really like swords because I've always liked the Castlevania Symphony of the Night swords. And a technique that you can use, that's an old school technique, is the double slash and the triple slash. Now right here I'm showing the double slash. It's a jump, attack, and then you attack after you land, backdash, jump. So you do a short hop, right? Then you attack, and as you fall, hit the attack button again, backdash, and jump. And it looks like that. This is a good way to stay mobile while also evading any kind of counterattacks from an enemy. So you want to get in the habit of this and help maximize your overall attack DPS. You could do the triple slash. Now triple slash is, instead of jumping after the backdash, you do another slash. The problem with this is that there's no cancel afterwards of it readily available, and so you'll be in you'll have to wait for the slash to get done with the animation. And it's basically recovery, and you could get hit after that, so you have to be very careful about doing triple slash. But if you know you're going to kill your enemy, it's good to do. Another thing to go over is aerial attacks. Now, aerial attacks, there's a couple ways to do these. The basic way is, as you jump while you're rising, you basically hit the attack button, and as you're falling, you hit the attack button again. And you'll get like a double slash kind of thing in the air. This is a good way to, you know, hit things that are in the air, annoying above you or whatnot. And you just need to get a couple slashes on them instead of just one slash. So get in the habit of doing that. And when you get the double jump in this game, you can eventually start doing the 3 slash. So you have a triple slash in the air as well. So try to get used to those techniques. It's very helpful. And of course it varies with each weapon. And just do as you see fit and use your favorite weapon. This is all about, you know, fitting to your style. So another thing I want to go over is, so when you explore, you're going to be going to these save spots, which is the red, and the fast waypoints right here, which are the green. There's like the quick, it takes you to one area of the map that's another green spot, right? When you use these, you want to explore as much as you can around those rooms. And if you can't see anything, just kind of keep in mind that there could be something up in the crevice, you know, that you might be able to get. Another tip that we want to go over is the preset loadout swapping. So when you fight enemies, this is going to be a very starting to get to the more advanced tips, but when you start fighting enemies, you're going to be needing to swap your equipment on the fly sometimes, especially your shards. So they offered this thing called the preset loadout swapping. You don't have to use these, but it's very helpful for advanced people that want to do like speed runs or things like that. And the cool thing about this is that when you do an ability, and let's say you have a another shard you want to use immediately afterwards, such as like the bone toss or whatever, you can literally swap to it after attacking. So you'll do an attack and then you can immediately swap to it using the loadout swap button. It's very helpful. It can change your equipment on the fly and your shards and your familiar and all your other stuff. And you can use it during, while attacking. It'll pause the game basically briefly and allow you to swap out in case you might need the item. So we're going to go over also the more advanced technique, which is the directional shards. These projectile shards can be swapped out at any time. The nice thing about these is that the directional shards, they will offer cool effects for what they do, but I think the most useful one at the beginning is going to be the bone toss. If you upgrade this, which you can farm the equipment or stuff to upgrade it quickly, it increases the size of it. So traditionally in Castlevania games, if you have an item that's thrown and it hits multiple times, it's considered strong, especially against big bodies, bosses, anything that's up in the air. And that's what the bone toss offers. You get it very early, you can upgrade it, and it does a lot of damage, especially to things that are floating around or has a big body. And you can throw it, and it ends up hitting multiple times. Because if you throw a directional attack or directional shard, traditionally what they'll do is it'll hit and then they'll go away. It's just like a one-hit thing. But thankfully, the bone shard doesn't do that. It does multiple attacks. It doesn't go away after you throw it. So it's a very useful item to kind of like just hit enemy multiple times and do a lot of damage. So I highly recommend getting that to help you out in the very beginning and using it a lot. It can really be helpful against annoying airborne enemies and bosses, big bodies. So let's see here, what else are we going to go over? Another one that we can go over is mobility. And you'll get a double jump later in the game. It's good to play around with it and start to utilize the air slashing. You can control yourself in the air, by the way, in these games, so you want to utilize that as well. Directional control in the air is traditional in these games, so make sure to utilize that. You can manipulate the way that you fall and the way that you rise as well. So we'll move on to the more advanced techniques. You don't have to use these, but these are going to be recommended, and they're probably going to be utilized in the higher level aspects of these games, especially for speedrunning and being able to be very fluid in the game. The main one I want to go over right now is the backdash canceling. This is something that was seen in Symphony of the Night and a couple of other Castlevanias, but it's a very good technique. And the way you do this is that you backdash, you tap down, backdash, tap down, backdash, tap down, and you do that alternatively. It's a rhythmic thing, so you just have to find the rhythm and practice it a little bit, and then you start to understand how it, the timing for it, I should say. So I highly recommend that. It's very useful for getting around the map quickly or getting to a certain section in time, especially if you don't have a lot of time and you just need to get to one area before the other, or if you're low on health and you just need to get past the enemies. It's pretty good to do. The other one I want to go over is the double jump dive kick technique. Now when you do a double jump, after you do a double jump, you have a dive kick available, right? Well, if you use the dive kick and bounce off of something, you get the double jump refreshed. So you can use that off of enemies or items and get even higher elevation. It's a good technique to try to get acquainted with and used. The other thing is when you dive kick after a double jump, there's a long recovery after you land. So the way to negate that is either backdash or slide. Both can be utilized depending on your situation. As you can see right there, there's a animation where she kind of crouches. That means you didn't cancel, and then you can be very vulnerable. So you definitely want to cancel the dive kick off of after landing from like the air, whatever. And dive kicks are really nice to check what's underneath you or bouncing off of enemies to refresh your double jump and things like that. So that should be it for the main beginner to advanced tips. I'm going to give some recommendations on what to do in these games. One of the more important things to do in these games is obviously get the 100% completion, but to also check your shortcuts. Make sure that you update your equipment to the newest thing on your shortcuts, whether you need the items or not, because you don't want to go to the inventory and manually swap out. You definitely want to take advantage of those shortcuts and just do it on the fly. Also, look at your personal data. This data right here will help you understand how much of the exploration that you're getting done, per se, especially for the item completions, the book checked out, unique recipes prepared, those sort of things. Those things become relevant when you're trying to go for that 100% completion. So you want to check this often as necessary. And they have it's interesting that they have the backstep distance traveled in here, because I think they really want the speedrunners to utilize that backdash cancel. Another thing to go over is the techniques. Recommendation is the techniques in this game. Some of the weapons have special abilities tied to them, and it's very specific to the weapon, but there's a couple ways you can find these out. You can either look in bookcases to see if you can find it in there, or you can manually explore them. If you equip a new weapon, it's recommended that you just play around with the directional D-pad, either forward or down or quarter circle back forward or half circle forward, whatever. Any of those motions, and just try to play around with the weapon, and you might be able to unlock this special ability tied to it if it has one. So that's a good habit to also take advantage of. Another recommendation I have is to play the prequel. There's a prequel to this game. If you want to get into the story a little bit more, Bloodstained, Curse of the Moon. It's a throwback to the 8-bit games. It's very nice that they did that. I thought it was a cool nostalgia effect for the fans. And so it's a good time. It kind of reminds me of Castlevania 3. I thought it was a really interesting and cool touch that they added for this game. And do the quests often. You're going to come across a lot of quests in this game that give incentive to do them, to give rewards. Highly recommend doing that. I hope you guys liked this video. I hope you liked the tips and tricks, and I hope these help you become a better demon hunter in Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night.